After the massive success, Craig, of our last video, perfect timing, an aeroplane flying by, but anyway, let's see. After the massive success of our last video.
How many views?
30.
30?
Maybe
Wow.
30 views. We're hitting the big time, the big leagues.
I think we've been stuck at 17 subscribers for quite a while.
Since the first video.
Since the first video.
This is maybe our 8th. But yeah, so since the massive success of our last video, we're going to continue on there and talk about movies that shaped us, films that shaped us, yeah? So I have a few more honorable mentions, of course.
I'd like to hear them.
And I have some ones we can talk more about. Like I have one that I'm sure, like you said with your Star Wars, one that maybe only a few people were moved by. Yeah. Something like Jurassic Park or something.
Yeah. Okay. Now the age difference was there, but that was still a huge movie. I remember that came out. I remember my friend was telling me about it. I was already, I was in my early 20s. I remember he said it's going to come out soon, and I got really excited about it. That blew me away. Blew me away. How old were you when that came out?
Must have been maybe 10?
10, yeah, okay.
9 or 10 exactly. When it came out.
Yeah, okay, so that was even
massive.
Massive.
Oh yeah. Seeing those dinosaurs move for the first time after seeing nothing but crappy clay dinosaur movement.
It was incredible.
It was the first time dinosaurs came to life on the big screen.
It moved the bar in a big way, I think.
It did, right?
I really like that movie.
But again, like I said, same with Star Wars. It's more of a cult thing. Not many people were into.
You think? Oh.
No, I'm joking. Of course. I mean, how many movies did they make after?
Okay, well, that's the first. Like, I mean, like, you can talk like Star Wars. They had the first generation, right? So the episode 4, 5, and 6.
That was confusing for everyone.
Yeah, I know.
All of a sudden, episode 1 became episode 4.
Yeah, that was a bit confusing. And then there's the whole, the second tranche of, the second section of it, and then Star Wars did a third section.
Yeah.
I was talking about the first section, though, obviously, just.
Which is the first? 1, 2, 3, or 3, 4, 5, 6?
I mean, if you go,
you're talking about 4, 5, 6.
I'm talking about episodes 4, 5, and 6, but movie 1, 2, and 3.
Why do they get confused at that much when it could have just been, here's the prequel. We're doing a series that's a prequel now.
That's a prequel.
Then that's not confusing. People know about prequels.
Yeah, because I guess with the books, is there even that? I mean, they had the episodes already laid out, but they thought that was a good place to start. And I kind of get it, because if you start from the very beginning, then you already know, the spoiler at the very beginning. I think I could say it now, 40-something years later. That Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. I can't believe I've said that.
What? He's what?
He's what? So even now when I think of like showing someone, because I do actually, my girlfriend's never seen any of the Star Wars.
Okay.
And I thought, how should I start?
Yeah.
You could start at the beginning, but that makes no sense, because then there's no surprise about Darth Vader being.
Yeah, you can't.
She knows nothing about the universe.
You've got to start at number 4.
You have to start at
number 4?
That's the thing. I think that's correct.
But that's where it gets crazy, because that's why they should have kept that number 4, 5, 6 is still 1, 2, 3, and then they go, here's the prequel now. So you go, don't watch the prequel first.
Exactly, you have an idea.
But now everyone's like, we should watch it right from 1 first.
Because most people know.
Yeah,
I guess. But I mean, if you start, I think about it, when I watched it with my son, I think I started at the episode 4 as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've got a decent grasp on Star Wars. Like, if you were to ask me, Star Wars or Star Trek, which I think in that world is a big question, in the sci-fi world. Maybe it used to be a big question, but I would say Wars, because Trek, I have no idea. I know there are millions of episodes, aren't there? And this is more of like a TV show that was just running and just kept going. And then there were movies. And then
there were movies like Star Trek, and this wasn't a big thing for me when I was growing up. I mean, I've watched some Star Trek, and I can enjoy it, but
me too.
They had the 60s show, and then you had in the 90s, or actually at the very end of the 80s, with Captain Picard, and they had New Enterprise and everything. That went on, but then they had so many different spin-offs from it as well. And there's currently other, current Star Trek shows still going on. And then they have Picard as an old man with his show. They did 4 episodes, 4 seasons of that, I think. whole universe. But we've gone on a digression, way off track here.
Because Star Trek didn't do anything for me. Star Wars, sure, but that was before my time. That was your
before
thing.
Your time. That was my thing.
Can I mention one that I thought was really cool, or not one, multiple films?
You may.
So I talked about how like the Labyrinth was like I was shown it and I thought whatever,
Didn't
weird,
knock
didn't
your
move
socks
me.
off.
One that did and scared the hell out of me too. I'm sure it was from the 80s as well. It was another fantasy film called Willow. And they made a series about it recently.
Oh my God! I had a
That's
poster.
great. That's
I
so
had a
good.
poster of
Val
Willow.
Kilmer there,
I had a
the
poster of
sword.
Val Kilmer
Yeah.
on my wall with a sword,
Oh yeah.
and I had a poster also
Yeah.
of who's the French actor from. Oh, so I watched William a million times.
Yeah,
My
Willow.
brother and I would watch that. I haven't seen the new series. They canceled it after one season, and I heard it sucked ass. So
no. Or maybe I watched an episode and was like, what is this?
yeah, no, I heard it was really bad. I didn't watch it.
But the TV show, I mean, the movie was amazing back when I was a
Back
kid.
when
We
we
watched
saw
that
it.
so often. The real things they had to do. Like, I mean, these wolf things were terrifying. And they were like,
remember
they must have been
now.
like real dogs dressed as these weird like badger wolf things that just would tear off
I
like
haven't
mops
watched it since I was
off
a
in
kid.
through the woods looking for the little baby that got sent off.
No, I
down
need
the
to
river.
rewatch it.
Yeah, me too.
That's how
Unlike,
I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Right, Willow. Unlike, say, what we talked about in the last episode, what was that again? Oh God, it was so long ago. But unlike that, the big movie I was into, the Princess Bride,
Yeah.
where I could quote everything. Willow, I can't really, but I remember lots of the scenes. And I remember he wanted to be a magician, a wizard. He wants to be a wizard, and he
Okay.
heads off. And then that's when they find the little girl that's been sent off down the river, and he has to protect her. And
Yes.
these terrifying wolves are coming.
I
and
can't
then he
remember
finds
the wolves at all.
yeah, and then he you don't the wolves.
I can't remember.
I was
them
a
all.
kid, and they were terrifying. These
Yeah, but I
things.
was older when they came out, so
Yeah.
it wasn't terrifying.
Yeah, but then he finds Val Kilmer in his cage, swinging there away in his cage. He's all locked
I
up.
remember one part because Val Kilmer was talking about how great of a swordsman he was, and Willow didn't believe
Bragging.
him. And then
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
in the
bragging.
movie.
And then in the movie, and at a certain point there's an actual battle, and Willow sees that he actually has skills,
Yeah.
and he says, "You really are great." And he twirls his sword around and he falls on his ass. And that's one scene that fits in my mind, but I don't remember. And there was a big battle with a big monster thing at the end.
Towards the end, I really lost on too. But I remember this is another film that got me so into fantasy.
Really.
Maybe like because there weren't so many really good fantasy movies or that later on. I really don't think that until much later when like Lord of the Rings and the
Yeah,
budget
and
that went
and
into that came out.
the Lord of they had some Lord of the Rings. There was a cartoon, and maybe not, and they weren't very
There
good.
was even some like actual live action thing from
Yeah.
back in the 50s that was really crap.
Yeah.
But I never watched. I've only seen memes about it. But no, when Lord of the Rings came out, then I was really ready for it. But Willow and that set the way for me to really enjoy reading fantasy novels.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was that. There was some comedian.
You have a smile. What are you gonna
some
tell
comedy,
me
some comedy movies I was into. Sorry, just checking the time there. Don't want to steal it all for myself.
now? It's alright. It's alright.
I love martial arts, and I always have. And I love kung
I know
fu.
you
Kung
also
fu
like
movies and
you
all
were
that sort of
did
stuff.
you even teach it or something?
Yeah, I used to teach karate as well when I was like 19. And anyway, not karate, but ninjas, ninjutsu. There were these movies I knew when I was a little kid. There was one called Three Ninjas, about three little boy
idea
brothers,
what it is.
and their grandfather was actually Miyagi from Karate Kid, same actor.
That was also another movie that
Yeah,
that was a
Karate.
huge movie when the first Karate Kid came out.
And I've been watching this Cobra Kai, and it's awesome. It's
I
cool.
heard it was good. I haven't.
It's teeny bop stuff, but I enjoy it. I think it's
Enjoy
cool.
it.
I like that they have the same actors playing their parts and everything. It's really cool to see the actual actors playing their parts again. He's Daniel-san again,
He's
and everything.
Daniel-san
It's
again.
cool. And to see how it's been over this last decade or two since then.
Decade or
Really
two.
cool.
Decade or two.
Yeah,
It's like 4 decades.
Sorry, 40 years. 40 years later, how they are.
No,
That's
not
a
4.
decade.
What,
or
wait,
two.
I mean, it was like in the it was 82, 84, 80,
Early to mid 80s. Yeah.
maybe mid 80s. I
When it
remember being
started.
not so small, but I still remember just
Yeah,
And
this
the ending-
Valley-
the ending
Valley
always
High
gets me.
Championship.
the ending always gets me.
Yeah. Anyway, so not Karate Kid, that's great too. But no, I'm talking about Three Ninjas,
No idea
which
what
is
the hell you're
really
talking about.
cool. These three boys, and they train. They always every summer they go and see their granddad and train with him. He trains them in karate and ninjutsu and stuff. and then their father works, like, it becomes this big in-depth thing because their father's like an FBI agent or something. He's after some criminal, and so this criminal evades something, and then they end up having to like capture him, these 3 kids. And it's really cool. Like, as a kid, I loved it. I'll probably watch it now. I think it's garbage.
Is it a movie or a TV
yeah, movie.
show?
No, it's a movie. And they made more of them. There was 3 ninjas, 3 ninjas kick back, I think, or 3 ninjas 3. They made a bunch of them, but the first one was the one I remember growing up
I
with.
think so, like that when you're a kid. And I know, like, there were movies I used to watch over and over again, and they're not really good movies. But when you're at age, it has something that pulls you in.
Yeah, right. Another one, really just moving on quick. 3 ninjas, sorry. Surf ninjas. Have you heard of this?
Is that a thing?
Surf ninjas. Yeah, I grew up with this too, and that's from like the 90s, early 90s.
Is this an Australian thing?
No, it was set in LA. These 2 boys growing up in LA, one a bit older than the other, and they find out, like, when these ninjas attack them, that they're like royalty. They're princes that have been raised over in LA, but they're surfer boys. And their best friend is the actor Rob Schneider, who plays Deuce Bigelow and stuff.
Way.
He's like their best friend, and when he's like plays their dumb best friend. So when they're told, like, by this guy after a ninja attack that they're princes and they need to be protected and they've got to go to their fictional land and reclaim the throne, he believes he's a prince as well. He's like, me too, and he's like tags along as like the comic relief of the movie. I mean, it's a stupid comedy movie anyway, but he's the over-the-top comic relief. As a boy, he's like much younger in it.
This is nothing I've ever heard of. I mean,
it's so cool. I'll send you a link to a trailer or something.
It's called out Surf Ninjas.
I grew up with that, loving karate, loving surfing, loving all that.
Yeah, because you're a surfer too. You're an Australian. You surfed and did karate.
We had surfing as a lesson in school.
No way.
Yeah, it was a way for
like
the teachers to kill the time.
Driver's ed and then surfing.
Even they were just like, what do we do on Wednesday with the kids for the last 3 hours of the day? We go down to the beach and they surf. Mark the roll, surf, mark the roll, they go home.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Cool. They didn't follow us around or anything, we just went out surf.
That's amazing. How old are you when you did that?
It was in high school that we had surfing like that. Primary school they wouldn't, of course, let you swim out on your own.
Okay, we never mentioned this, but we live in Austria. Is it like in Austria, like
no
everyone you know skis? Is everyone you know in Australia on the coast surf? No.
Not everyone, but lots of people. It's either surfing or bodyboarding or something. When you grow up, like where I grew up anyway,
Yeah,
Coolum Beach. That's right, the Sunshine Coast is called. So everyone's plan is the beach. So when you finish school, if you're like me, you sort of just take it all for granted and you just live a normal life. You're working, you're doing all this. You drive by in the mornings and go, hey, there's the beautiful beach, but you don't enjoy it, you know?
I mean, I lived at the sea, as you know, for like 15 years too. Not a place you can surf. I didn't surf anyway, but...
yeah, Mediterranean, there's no surfing out there.
Yeah, no, because there's not really...
No waves.
There's no waves.
It's beautiful.
But it's beautiful. I definitely... It was always... I think I appreciated it the most in winter, too, when you just have... It was warmer and you could just have these nice walks along the beach, and it's like, God, it's nice to not have a real proper winter.
Right.
Anyway, movies still.
Movies still. So, I think I've stolen enough time. You have a go there.
Last time, it's funny because one of our many viewers, my mom.
Yeah.
We started.
Hi, Craig's mom.
My mom. When we started the conversation, she said, "Oh, Craig's going to talk about Somewhere in Time."
And
I
you
didn't
did.
tell you. And I'm going to talk
very
about
briefly though.
Very briefly, and I want to talk about it. I think but mostly to convince whoever watches this video to watch it, and you basically.
I have to watch it.
I want you to watch Somewhere in Time. And
I watched the trailer of the motorbike dude you sent, that with cowboy Indians on.
Time Rider.
Yeah, that bike looked like the very first bike I bought myself. I had a motorbike like younger, but that was the very first road legal bike I bought myself, I swear. I had an XL 500, like a 1987 model XL 500, big thumper, and that looked pretty much like that. Yeah, it was a road trail bike, so you go off-road a bit.
And it was called Time Rider, right? I sent you the link.
Yeah, Time Rider, I think. Great,
so
amazing.
Masterpiece. All right, so I want to try to sell you. This is my pitch here for Somewhere in Time. Okay, so one thing I have to mention, because this movie, I had HBO right back already in the 80s, right? So they would repeat the same movie very often within a month, and I watched it over and over again. It would suck me in. Beautiful music, and there was something touching about it, but it was a love story, and I was a 12-year-old boy, right? Not even, 10, 12, but I would still continue to watch it. And it felt like this movie was my movie. It was special to me. And partially, I think, because I had a man crush on Christopher Reeves. I remember one point he's like riding up to this beautiful hotel, and they had this shot with the sun. I was like, wow, he's so handsome. So there was a little bit of a man. There's a little bit of a man crush for Christopher Reeves.
And your parents wondered why, like, after you were into that movie so much, and you have the big Christopher Reeves poster next to your bed head with no shirt on. You're like, hang on a minute.
That's not right here. So, all right, this movie, also the beautiful Jane Seymour. She's so beautiful in this movie. So, the movie is not the kind of movie you would think it's 12-year-old boy who likes Star Wars and Willow and, you know, Indiana Jones would like. So there was something about it that sucked me in. And years later, I was probably maybe close to college or already maybe in college. My mom shows me a newspaper article where, because like I said, I want to make it clear, I thought this movie was particularly special to me, right? An article about a guy who was so disappointed when he found out this movie wasn't only special to him, that he found out there were clubs of people dedicated. And there was an article reading that I thought this movie was always so special to me, but I realized that it was special to many other. We're out of time. Other people. You know, so it is a nice love story, but it has a whole sci-fi element, and the combination with the music. And
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, you have to check it out. Sure. And like I said,
I'm old enough to understand a bit of romance.
A little bit of romance, you can, you know. So, but it's a good movie. I think. I mean, it didn't win an Oscar or anything like that, but like I said, 79 it came out. Whoa. But the mixing the sci-fi with the love story.
I struggle to watch a movie that old.
Yeah, you could do it.
I can
do it. You could do it. It's not in black and white or anything.
I'm gonna jump back and watch some of these surf ninjas and stuff from
the early 90s as well. Send me some links
I'll send you some
about
links.
Surf ninjas.
Yeah. One last one I'd like to finish on, and then we can get back to that again. Or
wait. I want to dedicate an episode only to Surf Ninjas.
Okay, we will. We can watch it together. We'll watch it. If you want, we'll watch Surf Ninjas together. And then you can see our reaction to
Surf Ninjas.
To Deuce Bigelow, the brother, who thinks he's a prince as well.
Surf Ninjas.
It's so cool, so cool. You got to even see this, the front cover of the movie. They're like ninjas on surfboards. So cool. So one movie that meant a lot to me when I was a kid had a bit of romance in it too.
All right.
A bit of sci-fi going on as well. This is from the 80s, and I think when I watched it, I was way too young to watch something like this. Me and my brothers and everything, but I think my mum was into it. She was into Charlie Sheen, I guess.
Okay.
The Wraith. It's a bit of a criminal love story where, like, one criminal kills another young criminal who hooks up with his girlfriend. Okay. And then shortly after that, this badass turns up in town on his motorbike and also a mysterious car. And what happens is it's this gang that race people in this town near Arizona, and they keep for slips, so they own your car. If you race them, they beat you, they keep your car. And they keep doing that, but then this car comes along, knowing that they're murderers and stuff as well, this gang. And it always races them. They never see who's driving it, but it's the guy, it's Charlie Sheen. Okay. He always ends up ripping off ahead of them, and then around some crazy bend, he's just parked in the middle of the road, and they come and have this big, massive crash every time. They die in the car crash, the bad guy. Then the Wraith, when the smoke clears, the Wraith is untouched and just drives off. And it kills this gang. Like, he goes through catching revenge. Yeah, he's like a ghost. And he gets revenge on this gang for killing him.
Remember, I think I'm confusing it with another horror car movie where there's a car that's possessed. There's one where there's a killer car that's possessed. Maybe people were murdered.
This was a romance sci-fi, man.
Romance sci-fi.
Romance sci-fi.
With death, though.
Yes.
With death.
Oh yeah. And Charlie Sheen, young Charlie Sheen, had a man crush on my poster on the wall of Charlie Sheen.
We did an episode on all our man crushes.
His muscles, and he would like what was it? Hot Shots.
Hot Shots. Yeah, because it was like the Rambo thing.
Yeah,
he was all muscular in that when he did that whole Rambo thing.
But I remember him first in The Wraith.
The Wraith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean there were sex scenes and stuff. What was I watching it for as a kid? No. Sex scenes and then murder and everything. What the hell?
I've done Superfine.
Yeah, right.
We should probably go back. Yeah.
So what are we doing? What have you got to tell me? One more. Come on,
let's go. I don't think I have any more. It's like 20 minutes. We should go. What do you think? No, we should probably.
I mean, we can stay here.
We can stay here.
Just for the afternoon, or do we have to go home soon?
Yeah, I think you have to go home soon. We'll call it for the day, I think.
All right, dude. Good talking, Craig.
Good talking to you.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.